So many people, so many of us at the Milnes will know who Kyle Milne is for some reason or another. He's probably made contact with every single member of the Milnes. He makes himself known. You see his name everywhere. He gets involved in every single thing that we do at the Milnes, and it's really good to see that. And I always wish and hope for the same kind of interaction and support from everybody. And you see it a lot. And Kyle's one of those people who stands out. He goes above and beyond, and he's always there to help everybody and anybody. His name really stands out, and I'm sure everybody watching this will know who he is already. He's made his way down to Leeds from Scotland to spend some time with me. And the projects that he has coming out are really, really meaningful. And the book that he's been working on for a long time that he's held back is a very powerful book. And I'm so glad that he's come down so that I can have the opportunity, kind of selfishly, to spend some time with him and be reminded and kind of reminisce. And I think that's what message I wanted to give with this kind of little, almost meaningless introduction. It reminded me of my first adventure, my first journey into the publication of Magic, Deception, Sleight of Hand in the written form. And with the release, recently I released what I'm considering to be my final book, my last book, 52. So from this one side of that spectrum, I'm at the end of that. I'm now brought back to Kyle, and I'm kind of getting to relive something in a way, vicariously with him, kind of through his work, because he's at the start and this is his first book. So it's brought back so many memories, and it's taken me back to the beginning. And in this strange new adventure of selflessness, I will stop talking about myself, but I think there's going to be some value for anybody else in this world starting to write or wanting to publish their first book. I think what me and Kyle are going to talk about, what I hope that me and Kyle talk about when I see him, is what he can offer from his experience on this journey while he's at that point at the beginning, next to what I feel like I can offer from my position of doing my last book. I think we can offer a lot of value, and in that selflessness from both of us, from Kyle and myself, we want to record our thoughts and talk about the meaning and not the reasoning, but what kind of what leads somebody to the point where they want to share that information. I think there's so much value in what me and Kyle can offer, which you can't really get from anywhere else, from somebody who's been through it to somebody who's starting, and those people now helping each other. So I'm going to go meet Kyle now, and we're going to share everything with you. So pay attention. It's going to be an important video for a lot of people. Good to see you.
Long time.
Good to see you, man. I filmed an introduction already.
Okay.
We're going to save that for the film for you to see it.
Good.
But I've kind of introduced what we're talking about. Basically, your new book. We want to talk about your book, but I think there's so much more value and so much more that people can get out of the book itself from hearing about kind of the story of it, you know, what led you to it, why you did it, and also like how you did it and what you put into it beyond words and beyond tricks. Because there's been times over the years when meaningful offerings like this are released, but no one ever really finds out about what happens behind it or the meaning in it, and a lot of authors just rely on the book itself to tell those kind of stories, and they're often missed out, I think, from the people that we're talking to and the people who are going to see this.
Yep.
Maybe one day they're going to be in a similar position,
And they can learn from it.
And so I think we can offer a lot, because I'm at one end of it where I've kind of come away from books,
Yeah,
and
man.
you're at the start of it. So I think somewhere between what we've both been through, there's a lot of value in that. So kind of why we're filming. So yeah, you've got a new book coming out.
Yep.
Your first book.
The first.
Yeah. How does it feel? Do you get nervous?
Because we're going to the printers today.
Yeah.
It's a strange feeling. It's a very strange feeling that 6 months of work has all came down to this one day.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a thing. It's going to happen.
It's a good day, man.
It's a very strange feeling.
You say 6 months of work, but obviously there's so much more than that. I mean,
Yeah, so I mean,
6 months is kind of the production time, the writing, the
getting it
but the work itself's like from your life.
from the last 10 years.
So the book, you called it 9. Why did you call it 9?
A few reasons. I mean, the number 9 in itself has become so much more than a number in recent months and in the last year. It's become a symbol of creation,
Yeah.
and it just seems to come up everywhere. It's appearing in places that, when I'm not looking, it's just there, staring back at me,
Kind of
telling me
finds you. Yeah.
telling me it's time to get to work.
Yeah.
And the book itself has 9 pieces of me
Yeah.
in it.
You're kind of knowing you won't kind of do anything unless it's has some kind of a meaningful value, like.
Yes.
And it's quite rare to see, and especially for somebody's first book.
Yeah, man.
So you're starting from a really good place, So 9 entries. This is kind of this is aimed at card people who practice and perform deceptions with playing cards. Yeah. I guess what I'm saying is the 9 pieces that are in there. It's not just 9 tricks.
No, definitely not. It's I didn't want to put out, especially for my first offering, I did not want to put out just a trick book.
Yeah.
I think that as an artist, we have a duty of care to progress and not just rehash.
Yeah.
And our thoughts are just as meaningful as the tricks that we do. As in everything in that book has a reason behind it, and there's sections in that book that has my thoughts and how these things came to be.
Yeah.
But there is a lot more in there than just a few tricks you can do and just put on the shelf.
Yeah. And a lot of people have been waiting for this book too, so it's quite an exciting time for you, man.
I've held off for it for a long time. This is about 6 months ago. Like I said, I committed to doing it.
Yeah.
I committed to this is it. I'm going to do it this year. It nearly happened last year.
What made you stop?
Selfishness.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of these things I wanted to kind of keep to myself.
Yeah.
And my thoughts in the past, my thoughts always belonged to me, and I always shared them close with the people closest to me, and even that's a limited number.
Yeah.
And everybody that I showed these things to, it was they're like, you need to put these out. You have to allow more people to see from these and learn from the way that you think.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm not doing it. And last year I kind of made a start to it, and I just deleted the whole file.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not putting it out. Because there will be more of these. That's another thing that a lot of people don't know, is there will be 9 of these books. I'm committing to 9.
Okay.
But the first one had to come out first. And 6 months ago, I made a commitment to myself that I will do it this year. And with the 9th of September coming up, I made a commitment again that I would release it on the 9th.
It was about 20 years ago when I put my first book out. So the whole landscape of our industry, if you want to call it that, is completely different now. It's a strange question, but do you see any challenges in kind of putting it out in to the market? Because I guess you're offering it to people who want to kind of improve their deceptive practices or think differently about the way they handle playing cards.
Yeah, man. Originally, so the first edition is only going to be sold through a private link.
Yep.
A part of me still wants to keep this to myself.
Yeah.
But once that's kind of served its purpose, there will be a second edition of it that will be available to anybody who finds it.
Yeah, I think that's a really refreshing difference that I've seen in you is you're not just putting a book out, like, and you've said it quite a few times that you only want the people closest to you to have it, which kind of it says a lot about you as an artist, in the best of ways. As for the rest of the world getting it, I guess for me, I see that coming from a place of you don't want to kind of be selfish with it. You don't want to die with your music still in you, From reading it, because I read it, do you feel like you're going to reach more people who are going to be brought kind of into this little world that we seem to exist in? It's kind of a small world. I think it kind of works almost as a bit like an advertisement because it's written from the same kind of mindset that I seem to write with and the people that we surround ourselves with. But I think my question's coming from that kind of place. Did you write it just for those people, or did you know it was going to go to the rest of the world?
I wrote it for myself.
Yeah.
Originally, like
Okay.
the idea was that there was those people close to me who I don't see every day, who I don't speak to every day,
Yeah.
who I see at random occurrences throughout the year. I wanted them to have something to call on to,
Yeah.
in their hands, something of mine's.
Yeah.
Will it bring in more people? Yeah, absolutely. I think that by putting something out, I'll reach a wider audience, and just through word of mouth and through getting something out there. And my audience is very limited as it is just now because of how reserved I am, how little I actually put out, and how few things I actually share.
It's really refreshing to see, like, you're not going out screaming and shouting and saying, everybody look at me. You're doing it the right way. You're putting something special out, something meaningful. And you don't need to kind of scream and shout about it. I think that's going to be a refreshing thing for a lot of people to see. I think a lot of people who publish, who release things, I think they see that as the standard. So you get the product and you go scream and shout about it, you get people to buy it. Whereas I think you can see how special this book is because you don't have that need to do that. It's not in your interest to do that.
The thing is, the book will find its hands into the right people.
Yeah,
that's
a good way to look at it. Yeah.
I mean, the people who will get something from this book are the people who should have it. The people who aren't going to get something from it, they shouldn't have it anyway.
Yeah.
You know, it's wasted. It's wasted.
Do you have this mindset? If nobody bought the book, you'd still be happy?
Yeah, because I've done it for myself.
Yeah, that's a very important lesson. I think a very important lesson from anybody kind of wanting to.
Because at the end of the day, Daniel, it's like if nobody buys this book, then they wouldn't have enjoyed it anyway. You see?
Yeah, and I didn't mean to suggest that no one's going to buy it. I just mean it's come from that truth, that real place where
it's not about money.
You did it for you.
It's not about money. It's about me finally at a place where I am willing to share the things that I've held back and worked on for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And if that reaches one person, if that sells out in the first day, I'm happy either way.
Yeah.
Because it served its purpose. the purpose was set out for me to put my thoughts on paper, and that was the sole goal.
Yeah.
And however many people pick up this book, whether it be 1, 100, 1,000, it doesn't make a difference to me, because the goal is already met. The goal was to put out this book this year, and that's done.
It's a great mindset. It really is. You know, my first book was, I came around when I saw Dan and Dave releasing this PDF book, and I realised that's probably what I should be doing rather than the print. Back then, I think people were just so thirsty to learn, you know.
Yeah.
So there was an instant audience I found back then. But it's changed so much, and I've been, for loads of different reasons, I've been led to a place where everything I'm going to share from now on is on film.
Yeah.
A part of that, not as an argument, but kind of almost a debate, or something that might start a debate, is it's so much easier to learn sleight of hand and magic from seeing it, rather compared to reading
a book.
Finger one, finger two, finger, you know, this move, that move, this move. What are your thoughts on that? Because I lean now towards film, and I think with the industry, or just the world itself, being able to offer a book compared to a video, I would have gone to a video rather than a book.
Yep.
Have you thought about that challenge, or do you even see that as a challenge?
There may be a video of this in the future.
Okay.
This may be something that happens.
Yeah.
The reason why I wrote a book is I think there's two trains of thought when it comes to learning. I think that through video, yes, 100% is the easiest method to learn. I think that through visuals you are able to pick up things a lot more quicker. The issue with videos is you don't learn to think.
Right.
So if, for example, you put out a video and you say, so I shift the card to the bottom and then you do this shift, then the person watching the video, they do that shift and that's it.
Yeah.
Rather than the book saying, I shift the card to the bottom, and then them having to go away and learn the shift that's best for them. So I think a book kind of opens up a person's repertoire of moves, because they have to find themselves in a book, rather than copy the teacher.
Yeah. I guess the videos are the more easily lost as well. Like, you can just watch a video and then walk away from it, and you don't really have anything. I wouldn't never consider myself a collector of sorts, but I know that a lot of people who work with cards are natural collectors because they've got playing cards to begin with. So to own the book, I see like tremendous value in that, especially a good-looking book, which kind of is pretty good looking. What when it comes to the actual print of the books, what's are you going to be signing them?
Yeah, they will be signed. Yeah. The first edition will be signed. So the first, basically the first 100 copies are getting ordered today.
Yeah.
And they'll be the first edition. They will be signed and personalised where can, and shipped out.
So, anybody listening to this conversation who would be in that position, starting or thinking about writing a book, and they've got the fear, the fear holds them back, the fear makes you think no one's going to read, no one's going to buy it, I'm a terrible writer, all these things that every writer gets. What advice would you give, like, from your experience?
The biggest advice is do it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
The minute you start putting anything, and this is not just for a book, this is for anything, the minute you start doing something solely for money, or solely just to do something, it will usually wind up trash.
Yeah.
Because it's forced.
Yeah.
And when you do something from a place of pure creativity for yourself, then there's value in that because you're creating it for the right reasons. And that's the biggest advice I could give anybody is don't do it for the money. The money will come. The money made, money lost, it doesn't matter. It's if you're doing it for that reason, it's evident. It's evident in the product.
Yeah.
Because your heart's not in it. Whereas if you write something for yourself, say for a deck of cards, if you create a deck of cards for yourself, there's so much more meaning, and when there's meaning within the product, you care about the product, and when you care about the product, you take your time.
Sure, yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why it never came out last year, because I wasn't ready to do it.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready. I wasn't doing it for the right reasons. I was doing it for other reasons than this. And the book last year would have took a different form.
Yeah. Would have felt different. Different.
It wouldn't have been right.
It. I think back when I first started, I remember a lot of fear of there's so many challenges when you first get into it, from the author's point of view, from am I explaining this correctly? You know, what the biggest one, what are people going to think? And I know a lot of people stop at that point.
Yeah.
They'll get to that point and they'll say, right, it's not worth the suffering, the pain that's going to be caused, the hate, I guess it's the judgment that people are afraid of as well. And you know, have you experienced that? Do you have any of those fears?
Yeah, right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the days, like I said, this is why we kind of planned this day on this day, because this is the day that I'm printing it today.
Yep.
And the fear that there's no going back, the fear that it might not be taken well, the fear that people won't understand it, as in what I'm trying to get at, the fear that people aren't thinking on the same kind of train of thought as me.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the things in the book, each routine's been specifically chosen in that book for a certain reason, and those reasons should be evident around. But if they're not, then there's worries. There is, and that'll never go. That'll go with anything that I put out. If they're like a deck of cards, will they like it? Will they understand what I'm kind of trying to portray with the book? Will they like the material? Will they like my writing style? Because I'm not a writer. This came through a lot of trial and error. My grammar is awful. I had to get it edited by somebody because I can't write. So the thoughts poured out of me fairly easy, because I'd had this book held in for so long. Deciding what to put in it and limiting this book to 9 things was difficult. Now the fear is, did I choose the right 9 things? But none of that will go. I mean, I can say hand on heart that I have done this. I have produced the best that I can for this book, for what this book serves as, and that eliminates most fear.
Yeah.
Because I've done it for the right reasons.
Thinking about like maybe people at the Alliance, anybody in that position. It's a difficult subject to kind of give advice on the writing of a book, because each person's got their own level of what they can do, what they can't. Everybody's going to be different. Yep. But I think just us talking about the way that we did it, I think for me in the start it was Microsoft Word. Yep. And that was it, drag and drop pictures. And you learn by doing it. And we were talking about this as well just last night. What comes first, pictures or the words? And I found through experience that take the pictures of all the important moves, and then you know what you're writing about, rather than explain and then figure out what you got to take pictures of. So this is something that maybe people don't think about too much, but you did everything on your phone.
Words first, on my phone as well, So I didn't use a laptop, I didn't use any fancy software. I used the the Pages app on my iPhone.
Yeah.
If you've got an iPhone, it's on there.
It's already on there.
It's already on there, and I just started. And I just wrote, and you'll when you're starting, there'll be things that come out that aren't right.
Yeah.
And as I said to you, there's about 18 versions of this book. There was about 18, not rewrites, but
Yeah, just getting it right.
eliminating chapters, or changing words, or changing phrases, and when you're actually, another big thing with the writing of a book, which is from an educational standpoint for yourself, you actually improve on the routines.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Because you're teaching yourself.
You're teaching
while
yourself,
you're doing it.
and you're actually thinking so deeply about what's going on the page.
Yeah.
One of the routines I actually changed about halfway through writing because there was a better method,
Yeah.
and I only found that out. And I'd been performing that routine for 5 years,
Wow.
and through writing this down and trying to articulate this story into this page of words, I was like, there's a better way. And I found that out through writing.
Yeah. So you've learned so much from doing it, from actually just doing it, rather than. I think that could be another big thing that holds people back. Like, oh, I don't know how to do it,
Yeah.
so then they don't do it. Whereas, I didn't know how to do it.
No.
You didn't know how to do it, but you've got everything's there. It's funny, man, because if I had an iPhone back then 20 years ago, it would have been a different story. Everything's on the phone. Camera,
Yep.
high quality camera. Film everything, take pictures of everything, write everything.
You have the ability with that phone, you have the ability to do anything. You really do. When we look back at how this book came about, I mean, I don't excel at English, grammar wise, I struggle. Portraying what I'm trying to say in word, through speaking is fine. Because I can kind of refresh on the point.
Yeah.
Whereas to writing, you need to get that point out in one clear, concise sentence, and I didn't have that natural ability that a lot of people might have. Some people watching this might have the ability to write the best book in the world, but they haven't tried because they don't believe that they have the ability to do. And everybody has. If I can do it, and you can do it, anybody can do it.
I find myself giving that advice a lot, saying, I did it. I'm not special. I'm not better than you. I'm just me. You're you. You have the same abilities. You have the same means to make something, to create something as well. The same means. What I love about what you're doing and your approach to things is you're just doing it. But nothing's stopping you. You just do it, and even with any kind of fear or reservations, even with that, you're doing it. You're doing something. I like the idea that, the idea of shoot for the moon. You're probably going to miss, but at least you'll be with the stars. I love the idea of I'm trying, right, and that's all I can do.
Yeah.
At least I'm trying. That's better than doing nothing. That's trying is doing something. So to see you doing what you're doing around a ton of people who I'm praying to see the day when they do something too. It's good because you're leading by example. You're following just the natural lead of it.
I think there's also another lesson there as well.
Yeah.
You're all right.
Right.
Yeah, I think there's another lesson there as well, that you mentioned that the best you can do is try. And if your primary concern is failing, then you already are if you don't.
Yeah.
Because if you don't try, you have failed.
Yep, you're right.
And you never know. You might write the most amazing thing. You might produce the most amazing thing. The only way you're going to do it is if you try.
Yeah.
Got a lovely little spot there.
All right, so on that note, I think it's a good time to head to, we'll go to the tattoo studio, EPH, and you got a phone call to make.
He's ordered.
Yeah? Yeah, let's go.